Alright, it is Monday afternoon, trying to get out of here so I can get home, hoping for a snow. I don't know. I have really mixed feelings about having a snow day tomorrow. I really do. So here's the similar question for 10. I actually made this where you can do it two different ways, at least for part 2. Part 1, you got to know a rule. Part 1, you got to know the rule that ace of n is ace of 1, parentheses r to the n minus 1. That's what you got to know. All right. So ace of 1 is easy. Here's my similar example. The first term is -1. Then I got to figure out the ratio. The rest of it's n minus 1, okay? So if I'm one of those kids who can't look at a series of numbers and figure out what I'm multiplying by, and I know you exist, I take the second and I put it over the first. This would be a -2 over a -1, which is 2. And that goes right there. Now, I mentioned that part 2 could be done two different ways. There's a formula, or you can just write it out. It's the first through the sixth terms. It's not that hard to write out 6 terms. If you figured out that you're multiplying by 2, the next one's 24, then 48, and then -96. And you could just add those all together. Now, if this is the route you decide to go, you need to show this to me, okay? I don't care to see where you actually did the addition, but you need to write out the 6 pieces. So we got a -3 plus a -6 plus a -12 plus a -24 plus a -48 plus a -96. -189. Not hard to do. For some of you, it might be quicker to use a formula. The sum of n things is ace of 1 times 1 minus r to the n over 1 minus r. But you might forget the formula too. The first thing that we saw here was a -1. Oh, phooey. Milbrath. Let me go back and do this right. Those were my numbers. -1, -2, -4, -8, -16, -32, -64. 3, 4, 5, 6. Didn't need that guy. Sorry. I usually make mistakes when I'm in a hurry. I should get -63. That's the sum of the first 6 terms. Anyways, back to this. It might be quicker for some of you to use a formula. The first term is -1. Parentheses, the ratio was 2. And there's the first through sixth terms. There's 6 of them. And it'll be over 1 minus 2. I don't know which one's going to be quicker for you. I guess a lot of it depends, can I memorize a formula? So, -1 parentheses, 1 minus, and you don't have to wrap that 2 because it's positive. But, you know, be safe. Over 1 minus 2 to the 6th over 1 minus 2. You don't have to close out the parentheses either if you don't want to. It was -63. Doesn't really matter which way you do it, you get a -63. And again, I set that up so that it wouldn't be too bad. Evidently, I haven't created a similar example for 11, so I'm just going to do it. What you're going to do is you're going to mark off any factor not equal to 0, because they don't matter. Now you're going to write the factor. You talk about f of 5 being equal to 0. If you understand function notation, this makes perfect sense. This literally says when x equals 5, the result is 0. That's what it says. So to make it a factor, you move it over. You get x minus 5 is 0. That's a factor. We only keep this part. That's one of them. Here, change the sign. X plus 1. There's the other one. Change the sign. X minus 4. That's how hard it is to write a factor. Change the sign, put an X in it. That's why it says for the love of God, or sorry, it says for the love of all